Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com, and I'm here to try complete the Dream Theater random featured artist video. So I left off, I believe, after 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence in 2002, and let me start my timer so I can have that on. Make sure the video doesn't go too far, but go too long. But anyway, in 2002 they released 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. And then they decided that, I know Mike Portnoy and John Petrucci, well, I know that they ended up doing those classic albums live around that time, and a couple of the ones they did in the second night of a two-night stand, which is a rare case, but they did maybe one or two a leg of every tour, or almost every tour. A lot of them were in Europe, but some of them were America. But they did Metallica's Master of Puppets was one of them, so they were really inspired by Metallica to make a metal album. So they put out Train of Thought. That was in 2003. See, I don't have it on vinyl. I don't even know if it's been issued on vinyl. But and Train of Thought, I do like this record, and it is probably their most, I don't say their heaviest album, but their most overtly metal, or trying to sound metal, or influenced by especially classic metal, maybe not modern metal, but Metallica. Especially, there's some maybe new metal influence a little bit, maybe, I don't know, Slipknot and that kind of stuff, but it's still progressive. It's still doing the technical stuff that they're known for, and there's still melodic moments in Train of Thought. Track-wise, I guess I would highlight In the Name of God and Endless Sacrifice as being my favorites. The single As I Am, the first song and the shortest song on the album, I believe. That, and I think there's a song called Bacon on here. But anyway, As I Am, I believe, is the lead song on here. And it's the one song that gets played as a set list regular, it seems like, after this album came out. Sounds a lot like Metallica, especially LaBrie's vocal style sounds like he's trying to channel Hetfield. But it's catchy enough. I know it's the sort of Portnoy, the lyrics I think were written by Portnoy, so... But yeah, I mean, Train of Thought as a whole, there's Honor Thy Father and This Dying Soul, which is the second part of the 5A suite, 5A 12-step suite. And I do like parts of it, and it does channel part of the Glass Prison, of course. I remember initially, and I probably would still say, although I probably could go for revisiting this album sometime soon, that This Dying Soul and Honor Thy Father had a few moments that just kind of meandered at points, but I'll say that the best moments in those songs are some of the best parts on this album. I think it's Honor Thy Father that has that really catchy groove that goes da 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 da. I may be thinking of another song, but I think that's the one I'm remembering. That I probably the most memorable moment on this album, actually. But I mean, In the Name of God, and it has like the religious lyrics. It just is a well-written epic, although it's maybe a little preachy. Right, this is of course post 9/11. The first album they probably wrote after 9/11 happened. And then Endless Sacrifice, also similar to The Name of God. It's an 8-minute song, and I think it doesn't really drag. But I would say that this isn't quite as good of an album as 6 Degrees or even Scenes from Memory, but as I'll get to the rest of their work, hopefully in this video, they haven't put out an album as good as this since, in my mind. So moving on, then they released, of course, 2005's Octavarium. And one thing I probably should mention before I go into Octavarium is I always think of Opeth, because this is around the time Opeth started to get really popular, especially among Dream Theater fans. Like Deliverance and Damnation, just the whole black, gray sort of approach to the artwork, very gothic almost looking, metal and gothic. But anyway, so that was 2003 and 2004. I think right around the time they did the Budokan live album. I'm not covering the live albums, maybe for another video. But then they released, of course, Octavarium in 2005, which this is right when it seemed like Mike Portnoy was definitely talking about some of his newer influences or favorite bands, and one of them being Muse. And so there's definitely a couple songs on here that sound a lot like Muse, Panic Attack and Never Enough, which the lyrics, of course, were definitely related to some relationship with the fans online to an extent. but to that song. And then there's also 2 songs on this record that Answer Lies Within, I think Walk Beside You, to me have always sounded a lot like U2. So, which those songs aren't terrible songs. I think Panic Attack especially has a good kind of fast, catchy riff to it. But I guess those songs are probably my least favorite on this record. The Root of All Evil, the 3rd track in the whole 12-step AA suite, is okay. I mean, but I would say I would put This Dying Soul and The Glass Prison ahead of it. But it has its moments. I always think of the Root of All Evil radio show, of course, when I see that name. But hold on.